Salamta, Tena Yistaling. This is your Wyndham. Ra Sahara Ha Tafari. Greeting you in the name of King of Kings, Kedavari Haile Shalasi. The Goose Nigga said Ethiopia and always our black master and savior. Get attachment Hanatachin Yeshua Shia. Okay, so this is going to be part 3 of the man child. And it's actually more than that, but it's the man child and what's going on in this prophetic time here in Revelations 12 and 13 and 17 and history. Remember, this is history in the Bible. This is Elohim and history moving together, right? Seeing the fulfillment of prophecies instead of looking for them to come. If they already happened, you'll never see them. If they already happened. You know, that's why it says that speaking in tongues is not for the ones who believe, but for the ones who don't believe. But the prophecies are for the ones who believe. Because those of us who are men and believe in the scriptures look for those things which the scriptures say are coming. So we look for the prophecies to be fulfilled. We already know what the truth is. But those who don't know, and if you don't speak the language of the text that the topic is in, you can be misled. So if someone comes to you speaking English, you don't speak English, then all the information they have to tell you really don't make a difference. But if they come to you speaking the language that you speak in, then you can believe. So, speaking in tongues is for those who don't believe, so they want to believe, they want to know, right? But not only that, in certain signs and things like that, and miracles, or for those ones who don't believe, that they see that and believe. But more so, let's get into this. I'm rambling. All right, so we're going to in the other 2 videos I went over. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon and his angels and was cast out. This was the Battle of Adwa, right, back in 1896. Now, we're going right here down past it because it says that they were cast out into the earth. So we're going down past it after this war in heaven in 1896. And it says, Revelations 12 and 17, it says, and the dragon, or Italy, was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keepeth the commandments of Yahweh, and have the testimony of Yeshua HaMoshiach. So now, we know that the Ark of the Covenant, the commandments are in Ethiopia. This is just a known fact. You got many people out there with programs like In Search of the Lost Ark, and we found the Ark here, and the Ark is here. The world knows what the Ark is. Those ones who have knowledge and have done the research, they know where the Ark is. They just won't put it out there. And some even have put it out there, went over there to even try to get a glimpse of it, which is stupid in itself. You know what I mean? No one can come to the Ark. They would be killed. And that's Israel. So just imagine if a stranger were to come near the Ark, it couldn't survive. That's how stupid man is. That's how stupid man is. Like, it's a firmament. Over the firmament, they trying to crack the firmament. Now understand, if you crack the firmament, you're going to flood the earth. You can flood the earth because there's water above. Anyway, that's another teaching. Okay, so now we have here that it says this dragon went to make war with the remnant of the seed of the woman, and the ones who keep the commandments of Yahweh and have the testimony of Yeshua HaMoshiach. Okay, so now, like I said, the Ark is in Ethiopia. So they have the commandments of Yahweh, and they also have the testimony of Yahushua, right? Because if we go to Acts 8, it does say that and he arose, it's talking about Philip, and he arose, Acts 8:27, and he arose and went, and behold, a man of Ethiopia, a eunuch of great authority under Candace, queen of the Ethiopians, who had the charge of all her treasures and had come to Jerusalem for to worship. Now, why would somebody in Ethiopia come to Jerusalem to worship? Because he was an Israelite coming to worship on the holiday. So now we have this Ethiopian, right? And Philip, laid it down to him, told him everything about Yeshua and what had just taken place, right? So it says, then Philip opened his mouth, 35. Then Philip opened his mouth and began at the same scripture and preached to him Yahushua, Buduku, blessed be he. And as they went on their way, they came to a certain water, and the eunuch said, see, here is water. What doeth hinder me to be baptized? And Philip said, if thou believest with all thine heart, thou mayest. And he answered and said, I believe that Yeshua or Yahushua Baruchu, the Messiah, is the Son of Yahweh. Ani me amin ki Yeshua ha-Moshiach ben ha-Yahweh. So I believe that Yeshua, the Messiah, is the Son of Yahweh. Ani, me amin, believe ki Yeshua, that Yeshua ha-Moshiach, the Messiah, is the Son of Yahweh, ben ha-Yahweh, Buruku. And he commanded the chariot to stand still, and they went down both into the water, both Philip and the eunuch, and baptized him. And when they were come up out of the water, the Spirit of Yahweh caught away Philip, that the eunuch saw him no more, and he went on his way rejoicing. So now they have the testimony of Yahushua down in Ethiopia. Here, you see it going down here. We can even go further to when Tawahado, right, is the proper Tawahado, like Elohim and man, one. Tawahado, being made one, unified. It's like the true right way, the Ritit. It's called the Ritit, right? Tawahado. So let's go even more. Christianity in Ethiopia, right? Christianity in Ethiopia is the largest religion in the country. The Ethiopian community at large, and dates back to the early medieval kingdom of Aksum, when the king Azana first adopted the faith in 330 AD. This makes Ethiopia one of the first regions in the world to officially adopt Christianity. So we know that who has the testimony, right? They have the testimony of Yeshua. And they have the commandments. Ethiopia. Let's go to 13. And we touched on this too when it says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy. So we already pointed out that this beast that come up out of the sea is this law, this maritime admiralty law, right? Which is the Roman Empire actually, but it's still the law of the high seas. Now the same law that they used to govern the high seas, they now govern land with it. And as far as this beast, this is the Roman Empire, because it tells you back in Daniel 2 the characteristics of these empires. And the last world empire was the Roman Empire, right? So 7 heads and 10 horns. Now you got to remember the image of Daniel. It spoke about the 2 legs of iron, because this is at the time when you had the Roman Empire or kingdom was being split. You had the Western and you had the Eastern Roman Empire. Let me see if I can get that here. There you go. Okay, so you had these 2 empires. This would be the 2 legs of that image, right? See how it says Eastern versus Western Roman Empire? So it's still the empire, but this empire is divided now, right? And it says when the Roman Empire dissolved into Eastern and Western, right, entities, the East became the Byzantine Empire, while the West forged a new identity tied to the Lutheran Church. So and they was fighting and battling for these territories. That's why it says that the deadly wound just begins like the deadly wound, because they're already divided. But then as it goes down through history, these two kingdoms divide into 10 kingdoms. Right? Remember the 10 toes? And the reason why the 10 toes were part iron and part brass, part iron and part clay, because they don't mix. So it's not firm. And the 10 kingdoms were the Alemanni, the Germans, and the French, and the Burgundians, the Swiss, and the Suevi. You got that's the Portugal. You got the Anglo-Saxon, Britain. You got the Visigoths, Spain. The Lombard, Italy. And then you got the Vandals, the Ostrogoths, and the Heruli. But these last three, the Vandals and Ostrogoth and the Heruli, they with Emperor Justinian. They was fighting back and forth with him. So this is how and Justinian was the emperor that was trying to restore the Roman Empire, because remember it was split into these two legs and these two divisions, Eastern and Western. So he's trying to restore it to make it all one, but it was some still fighting against that. So they totally the Roman Emperor Justinian with the Pope, he thrust the Ostrogoths out of the city of Rome, and they became extinct. And in 538 AD, the Pope decreed that he should be the head of all the Christian churches. You see what I mean? So even back then, they were trying to restore the kingdom. But let's go up here to Deadly Wound Hill. Now we'll go to pick up a little more on this Justinian dude. Real bad. I know I had it up here somewhere. Okay, so it says that and I stood upon the sand of the sea, 13:1, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon the heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like to a leopard. This is where it tells. This is how you know this is the beast in Daniel, right? And this is the Roman Empire, because it says the beast which I saw was like to a leopard. His feet were as the feet of a bear. His mouth is the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and the seat of authority, which I went over that too. But real quick, let's make sure that this beast right here is the same one in Daniel. This is Daniel 2:40, King James. It says the fourth world empire, Rome. And the fourth kingdom shall come and be strong as iron, for as much as the iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as the iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces. Wait a minute, this might be, yeah, this is it. Yeah, break in pieces and bruise. Oh yeah, and whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, remember he's talking about those 10 kingdoms, right? The feet and the toes of potter's clay, and iron, the kingdom shall be divided 2 legs, but there shall be in it the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with the miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part iron and part clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And where thou sawest the iron mixed with the miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, as iron is not mixed with clay. That means that when it says that they mingled themselves with the seeds of men. I mean, they send ones out. Like, say, you know how you got these organizations within organizations. You got a couple good old boys up in the police department that'll hook you up, that'll enforce and do certain laws to control certain people. Or you might have, say, you in the music industry or a film industry, right? And they send you in to get cool with everybody so you can push their agendas. But you're really on their side is to influence others. So they mix themselves like they part of the people. Like, you know, you never know who is who really. But they mingle with them, right? And mix themselves with them. But in doing that, they wanted to do that so you can be like, okay, yeah, this is the real way. This is how you come over to the right side. What they teaching over there is wrong. So come on over here. But those ones are like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. We stand over here. So that's why, like the iron and the clay, they didn't mix, even though they went in to try to mingle with them. They didn't mix. Then it says, the final world empire, the kingdom of heaven. Very important. We're going to stop right there for that one. But we're gonna touch on it. But there's other stuff we got to touch on first. Okay, so in the beast, which I saw was like a leopard. And see, that's what we're going to get to, because it's describing this. It's describing this beast, what it's like. So let's go back over here. Let me see. Yeah, this is 2. Okay, so let's go to 7. Let's see. All right, let me see. Daniel 7. All right, world empires, right? So we're in Daniel 7 now. And we're going to the Roman Empire. Chapter 7, verse 7. Says, the Roman world empire. After this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible. See what I'm at over here? Dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoureth and breaketh in pieces, and stampeth the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all other beasts, or from all the beasts that were before it. Because this is at the time when Justinian came. Remember, Justinian is the one that changed the times and laws. He wrote new Roman laws and decrees to put in effect, right? So that's why even you see we're at a time where the crown was on the beast, it was on the heads, and then you got the crowns on the horns now, on the 10 horns, these 10 divisions, right? So and it says that the residue stamped the feet of it, and it was diverse from all other beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns, right? Remember those 10 kingdoms. The 10 kings in the little horn. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them a little horn, before whom there were three of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Now, when it says here that there was 3 plucked up before, remember I said that the Vandals, the Ostrogoths, and the Heruli had fought. Those were those ones that were plucked up in Italy. You know, the Lombard, all those. So those were the ones that were fighting. So those 3 that were plucked up, the Vandals, the Ostrogoths, and the Heruli, right? They were destroyed by the Pope of Rome. So it says this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things, talking stuff. Now the heading here says the vision of the coming of the Son of Man in glory. or the man-child in glory. But we all know who this is, Christ, right? But just listen. So it says, and this is Daniel 7 and 9. I beheld, and to the thrones were cast down. What thrones? The thrones of these 10 kingdoms, right? The throne was cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. Don't say white like wool, just say pure wool. His throne was like a fiery flame. His wheels was as burning fire. What? You see the wheels burning fire? You see the vesture dipped in blood? You see the black angels, the melanated angels, the real angels? You see the halos, what they be drawing for halos? That's why they draw halos, they're afros. See the halo? Huh? In spirit and in truth, it says. Truth. So I behold, to the thrones were cast down, the Ancient of Days did sit. Now it's said, and if we want to go back to Daniel, real quick. Let's see Revelations. Let me go over here. I got all these motors open. All right, so we go to Daniel 2. The 40, what? 44, something like that. 2 and 40. Okay, is the toes okay? Iron clay. This we was right, but I want to go here when it says 2 and 44 says, and in the days of these kings shall the Elohim of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to another people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So it's this prophecy of the Ancient of Days, right, has to be in the days when these kingdoms exist. In the days where these kingdoms exist. So let's go back over here to 13 and 2, where it says, and the beast which I saw was like to a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat. So we see this is the Roman Empire. But when it says the dragon, or Italy, right, gave him his power and his seat and great authority. The dragon gave him power and his seat of authority, right? Now, where in history is this taking place? Remember, we went back to the Lateran Treaty. Get that. Okay, you go back to the Lateran Treaty, right? And this is what it says in the Lateran Treaty right here. It says, the Lateran Treaty was the birth of the independence of the Vatican as modern state. The state of the Vatican City became a sovereign state with the Pope as its recognized leader. The papacy recognized the state of Italy with Rome as its capital. So Italy is saying now Rome is its capital. It gave Rome the seat, gave Rome the authority over it. The beast, Rome, as its capital. On the other hand, Italy recognized papal sovereignty over the Vatican City and also secured full independence for the Pope. That status of the two states changed, with each recognizing its territory and responsibility. That's one. Second, chapter, the Daily Wound Hill. San Francisco, this was on remember I was talking about the San Francisco Chronicles that had the actual article. So let's say the San Francisco Chronicle, Tuesday, February 12th, 1929, exploded with the headline, Mussolini Gaspari signed historic Roman pact. healed wound of many years. It was hardly likely that the correspondent and the editors of the San Francisco Chronicle had any concept of the significance of the dramatic event they were reporting the previous day, February 11th, 1929. Cardinal Gaspari, representing the Pope Pius VI or Pius XI, and Benito Mussolini, representing King Victor Emmanuel III, signed the Lateran Treaty when the nation of Italy was reunited in 1870 by Garibaldi. No temporal kingdom was allotted to the papacy. In fact, the papal state were forcibly wrenched from Vatican control and ceded to the Kingdom of Italy. The festering sore left a major rift between the Italian monarch and the papacy. So we see this was the deadly wound here. This is part of all that deadly wound. But when they signed this Lateran Treaty, the deadly wound was healed. And I think I got another, boom. This is the actual newspaper clipping right here. Heal wound of many years. Vatican again at peace with Italy. So it was in the papers. And some recognized it, some didn't. So now we get the deadly wound healed, right? We understand what that is. We understand what the two legs of the image was. The Western and Eastern Empire of Rome, and it eventually twinkled down to the 10 toes when Justinian came and tried to restore the Roman Empire then. But at the time of this Lateran Treaty, when it was signed, that's when it was restored, right? Now, let's go to the second war in Ethiopia. Because remember, what the 12 said that the dragon went to make war with the remnant of her seed. So now we're going to go to 13:2 again, where it says that the dragon, or Italy, that we just seen, gave him his power. To who? Rome, his seat and great authority. And I saw one of the heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. So 1929, you see this Lateran Treaty being signed. This was the deadly wound being healed. So now the deadly wound is being healed. It tells you here the deadly wound is healed, and this is where it gets deeper. It says, and they worshiped the dragon which gave power to the beast. They worshiped Italy, who gave power to Rome, saying, who was like the beast, who was able to make war with him, right? So how did they worship the dragon? Because the beast is Rome, right? Because they have a Italian pope. All the popes are Italian. Why are all popes Italian? Let me blow this up so y'all can see it. There we go. It says that because the Vatican is in Italy. Therefore, when a pope appoints a brand new cardinal, he is aware of the native folks' finest. And these cardinal elect the pope. They usually know Italians' finest. Nice circle when you're an Italian bishop. All the popes are Italian. Close that one down. So, in the days of these kings, shall the Elohim of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people. No other nation rules over Ethiopia. And the kingdom of Rastafari is eternal. It's not destroyed. But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, right? For as much as thou sawest the stone, that's Christ, the stone which was cut out of the mountain without hands, and it break in pieces the iron the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold. The great Elohim hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof is sure. So we're going to close down Daniel. Right? But we see that, right? We're going to go over to Revelation 13 and 4. And it says, and they worship the dragon, Italy, which gave power to the beast, which is a Italian pope in Rome. And they worship the beast, the Italian pope, saying, who was like to the beast, and who was able to make war with him. And there was given to him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. Right? So, who is this mouth speaking great things and blasphemies? Let's go to it. This is your Mussolini. This is your Mussolini. Oh, let me turn it. Let me stop this. Let me get this. We can hear this.